Hello, please take a seat.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Tommy and I'm from Ecuador.
I'm Mickey and I'm from Taiwan.
We've been together for 1 year.
We just got married.
Who do you love the most?
My cat.
Seriously?
I love you too, okay?
Okay.
What would you like to tell him or her in their final days?
I will tell you that all that process was worth it because that made us what we are today.
It's so sweet.
Will you discuss death with your loved ones?
It's a very painful topic to speak with your loved ones.
This is something you need to deal with afterwards.
Have you ever experienced a death or an incurable disease of a family member?
Yeah, twice. My two grandfathers passed away. One passed away last year. The doctors couldn't do anything about it.
Both of my grandparents. One of them were supposed to leave earlier, but they were not willing to let her go. But in the end, it was very painful for her. So it was not something that I would want to remember because the atmosphere was really low during that time in our family. Yeah, it was that time.
If you're diagnosed with an incurable disease, will you confide to your loved ones?
In the past, I could be quite hesitant. If your other half is diagnosed with an incurable disease, say the doctor tell you first, would you tell him or her?
Life and death is a rather sensitive issue in Asian culture because typical Asian families tend to have very complex and conservative relationships. It's not common for family members to express their true feelings to one another, let alone disclose bad news. When this tendency applies to a clinical situation, it's not unusual that a patient himself or herself was kept in the dark by the family, having no clue of his/her own condition and can't make any medical decision for himself or herself.
In Taiwan, we now have the Patient Right to Autonomy Act, ensuring patients to be the first to receive information about their conditions and will not be excluded from decision-making. Meanwhile, under specific situations, one shall be entitled to choose whether or how to receive medical treatment in advance, bidding the world farewell in one's own way.
Patient Right to Autonomy Act in Taiwan is the first act in Asia to protect patients' right of medical autonomy. It comes with two main features. First of all, to ensure that the patients have the highest priority to be informed of their conditions and the precedence to choose and decide on medical options, and that others' ideas should not override patients' independent wills. Secondly, to allow patients to refuse life-sustaining treatment through advanced decisions for the purpose of a good and natural death. The refusal to treatment is not the same as euthanasia. Euthanasia is when one requests to be rejected with drugs to end life manually before natural death, while the right to refuse treatment is to simply allow doctors to remove or not to implement life-sustaining treatment based on one's will, letting the patient return to nature during the course of his or her death.
It's essential to sit down and have a talk with your family, especially in an Asian family, when you're about to make such a major medical decision. Therefore, Patient Right to Autonomy Act has this unique design which stipulates that qualified declarants must take a family member to participate in advanced care planning before signing an advanced decision. The advanced care planning involves medical professionals to explain the pros and cons of specific medical decisions for the declarants and their families to fully understand and to have a thorough conversation. Through such communication process, the declarants' decisions are usually well supported by their families.
So, what kind of medical decisions can a declarant make by signing an advanced decision? That is, one can decide beforehand what medical treatment he or she would like to receive or refuse if he or she complies with any of the 5 specific clinical conditions: in terminally ill, in an irreversible coma, in a permanent vegetative state, having severe dementia, or with other government-approved diseases. The phrase medical treatment here includes life-sustaining treatments and artificial nutrition and hydration. In terms of the 2 mentioned treatments, one can decide to accept or reject, or to accept for a certain while before reject. One can also designate a healthcare agent to decide for him or her. as one follows the legal process to complete the signature of an advance decision. Once any of the 5 specified situations happen, doctors will be able to provide appropriate medical care based on one's pre-decision.
It felt like a chance to me. Signing an advance decision had me to think how I would like my life journey to end.
I think it also reminded us the importance of a proper goodbye, and we will cherish our moments together more than ever.
For me, to contemplate the true meaning of love is when we truly embrace the whole journey of our life.
It was difficult for me to speak out when I first thought about it. I just didn't have the guts, but it became easier as we went through the process.
And we're very grateful to have this opportunity. We get to know more about each other and to be more confident about our relationship, our love.
In fact, Patient Right to Autonomy Act not only safeguards the patient's rights, but also releases the families from the toughest decisions.
Patient Right to Autonomy Act also protects medical staff who respects patients' wishes, allowing them to follow one's advance decision with no legal worries.
We can't choose how our lives begin.
But I believe, if possible,
We'd like to decide how our lives end.
Prepare in advance, so in the end of our life journeys,
We can show our loved ones
our gratitude
I regret.
our infinite love,
And say a proper goodbye.